Trigger warning, there is discussion of death and miscarriage of a baby, so please be warned. If those are tough topics for you, I will see you back in the next episode. Years ago, instant attraction and burning passion led Jenelle Cruz and Lucas Cullen into a tumultuous, sizzling marriage. It seemed that mutual passion was doomed to burn out in the face of doubt and their lifestyle differences. After a separation, the disillusioned couple filed for divorce. Janelle poured her energy into building her brand, and Lucas is determined to settle into a nice, quiet, loveless relationship. But circumstances and meddling siblings will throw them back together in the most unexpected of situations. Old desires are rekindled, but can Janelle and Lucas get over their troubled past and find a perfect future? Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to the Bibliophile's Bookcase. I am your host, Erica the Bibliophile, and today we are here to discuss Elle Kayson's What an Heiress Wants. Now, this is described as a standalone novel, but I have some questions because Janelle Cruz. Okay, before I get in to their main story, I just want to point something out. She is related to Angel from There's Still Beauty, um, and this love story or street love story, something like that, of the Kinsey slash Cruz situation that was going on. But it seems like this is maybe before he met Tamar, or he was just visiting the family, because it's a brief mention of him, but it don't seem like he a family man or nothing like that. He's just like the brooding cousin. So I'm gonna assume this is before he met Tamar and that whole situation happened. Um, and also her name is Dominique. I believe Dominique is Briar's friend, because she's a doctor. So I'm thinking that's her friend. And if that's the case, the way she sounded in those stories compared to what happened in this story, two completely different people. And it was just wild. But anyway, let's dive into the story. So we have Janelle, who is at her business, and this man walks in and she tells him, like, oh, I'm coming to somebody's graduation. And he's like, I never kept you away from the girls. Like, what is you talking about? And she's like, okay, so why are you here then? Um, and it's Lucas. Lucas is her ex-husband. And he tells her, I'm getting married. And she's like, oh, like, are you here to throw it in my, like, what is this? And he's like, well, come to find out, I'm still married. And she's like, what? No, 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 no. And he's like, yeah. So we never got a divorce. Now, come to find out, he has four younger sisters, or three. No, four younger sisters, excuse me. But one of them is a lawyer, and she was supposed to be the one to file the paperwork. But come to find out, she never did. So this whole, what, 5 years? 4 years? No, I believe it's 5 years. The whole time they've been thinking that they've been divorced and separated. Come to find out, they actually have not. So now they have to redraw the paperwork and do this whole thing all over again. Um, so, okay, let me get this right. So we have Lucas Cullen, who lost his mother, and then after he lost his mother, father just up and left. So he has been responsible for his four younger sisters for the last 9 years. Um, is Zaire. Zaire's the lawyer. Then we have Kenya, who is next in line. Then there's Egypt. No, it's three. Okay, sorry. I was like, is it three or four? Because it's Zaire, Kenya, and Egypt. Yeah, it's all four of them together. Sorry. So yeah, like he's been their dad, their father figure, and the whole time they were close to Jenelle because Jenelle was like their mother figure. So nobody really wanted them separated anyway. So he feels like Zaire, like she had this planned all along. Now Janelle has a twin sister by the name of Jade, who is encouraging her, like, you need to get this taken care of. Don't drag this out. Y'all need to file for divorce and actually be done with each other because the relationship was terrible. And they just do this back and forth situation. So the papers are redrawn, and now they're seeing each other more, and it's just like, oh my God, here we go. Um, and all these feelings are drudged back up. And come to find out, Janelle was pregnant with their son, and unfortunately, she lost the baby. And she comes from money, like the Cruz family. They have a whole bunch of money, and that has always been a hang up in their relationship because Lucas feels like she basically downgraded with him, and he could never compete with what she was used to, even though she told him time and time again, you don't have to. Like, I'm happy with you, I love you, we're gonna do this together. So when they sit down, because Jade, I forgot, Jade is a lawyer as well. So Jade is representing Janelle, and Zaire is representing Lucas for the time being because he got another lawyer, but that lawyer was busy. So they were really just sitting down to have a conversation to discuss like property, assets, and all that type of stuff. So they're sitting down, and Zaire and Jay are doing all the talking while they're staring at each other. But she mentions a gift that she bought for him, but he never got. And it was a car, like, what was it? A Maybach, however you say that damn car. It was that. And he looked at her like she had lost her fucking mind because he was in college or working two jobs and taking care of his sisters. And he's like, you bought this car. And basically, he felt like that proved his point. Like, see, you just have so much money to blow. You just buying stupid shit. I was working two jobs, trying to make ends meet. And you just spent like, what, 400,000? It was some like ridiculous amount of money on the car. And it's just like, do you see why we wouldn't work out? And she was like, well, you always talked about getting the car. I wanted you to have it. Like, I was so proud of what you were doing at that time. And he's like, I had a car. And she was like, yeah, but that was your dream car. Like, I wanted it for you. And so I I didn't get it. Like, their relationship was some bullshit for real, in my opinion. And so he's like, what? I was gonna get grease all on the seats, like from my job, and what was I gonna do if it broke down? How was I gonna afford to put gas in the car? And it's just like, she always felt like she had to explain herself, like, no, that's not it. Like, I wanted you to be happy with something, and I could afford to get it for you. But Lucas was so stuck on his pride and like, I'm a man and I afford this. I take care of myself. Like, that's the attitude he has. And so for so long she hadn't even said anything about the car, but because they're discussing I guess, like, basically giving them their things, she was like, I want him to have it. He's like, I'm not taking that. And then he has like a piece of property, but she didn't know about it. He's a Lord, why is the word is escaping me? He's an architect. So he had built her dream house, but he didn't tell her that though. Like, they didn't get to that part. So he does tell her because he has set up an account for their son, and it automatically came out of his account, and he never closed it out. So he tells her, like, there's money in there and I want you to have it. And she's, of course, that's excuse me, a touchy subject for them. So, for her, for real, she's like, no, I don't want that. I don't even know why you would tell me about that. Take it and leave me alone. Like, don't. Especially, which I kind of understand, because it's like, with money being the sore topic of their relationship, and I lost my son, like, I don't want that money. I'm sorry, I don't. But he tells her to take it and use it for her center that she's trying to open up, and make a donation in their son's name. And she's like, no. And they get into this argument, and he makes the statement, because I can't wait to be done with you. And that crushes her, because even though they are doing this bullshit of back and forth, they still love each other. They still want each other. But because they have poor communication skills, nothing is getting done. And okay, let me backtrack a little bit. So, he came to her shop saying he's getting married, whoop de whoop. So he's getting married to a woman by the name of Dominique Walsh, I believe. And like I said, I believe I did not I didn't go back and check, but I'm pretty sure that Dominique is Briar Rose's friend, because they're both doctors and they work in a hospital together. I'm pretty sure that's her. But anyway, this is his new fiance, although she is no longer his fiance, because they broke up when she found out that they were still married, because she said she didn't feel right being the fiance of a married man, but she's still trying to act as if they're in a relationship together. And she goes to Jenelle. She owns a lingerie shop. She goes to Janelle's shop and is like talking crazy to her, and is like, sign the papers, make sure. And it's like, first of all, who the fuck are you to come into my shop and tell me to make sure I sign the papers? I'm like, bitch, if we want to be technical, I signed the papers the last time. They just didn't get filed. Like, I ain't seen that man, and I can't tell you how long, ain't thought about him, ain't nothing like that. So I don't know who you call yourself coming in here checking, but keep it real cute. And the one thing I cannot, I don't do nice nasty. I have never done nice nasty. I don't like nice nasty, because she comes in. Dominique comes into her shop, and it's just like, ooh, you have an attitude. Ooh, you're so ghetto. Ooh, you're using foul language. I would never. So it's like, so why the fuck are you here? Like, you don't like me and I don't like you. Like, let's keep it that way. And they have a little bit of history. They went to college together, and Janelle says that she extended a branch to Dominique, like, do you want to go party with us? And Dominique was like, ew, no. So ever since then, it's been like a little competitive thing between them, because from Janelle's point of view, she's like, Dominique always felt like she had to outdo her or go harder than her. So of course, when somebody's giving you that energy, she felt like she had to basically give it back to her. I'm like, you didn't have to, because no matter how hard she tried to prove herself to you, you could have just looked at her like, girl, I actually wanted to be your friend, but the fact that you don't like me is a you problem, not a me problem. And so I'm there's no nicer way for me to say this, because I said this before. The book went on too long. It was a complete, like, a loop of, we could be together, but money, and you wanted this type of life. Like, I told you I didn't want that type of life. I just wanted you. But it's just like, they're not listening to each other at all. But it's just like, oh, we're attracted to each other, sex. So I actually do love you, even though they've been telling each other that they love each other and they just wanted to be with each other all this time. Up until the end, where Janelle gets pregnant again. And at first, because she was just in bed, because they had tried their relationship. Sorry, I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. So they had tried their hand at their relationship again, like, we're gonna make a go of this. We're quote unquote dating, if you will. And she invites him to a function, and he really don't want to go. He's like, man, I ain't trying to be around them stuck up people. I don't want none of that. And so she basically talks him into it, which did piss me off because it's just like, if he's already expressed that he don't like that part of your life, why would you force him to go? But of course, he went to make her happy. But while there, she's off mingling because these are her friends. This is her group of people. This man approaches Lucas and basically like calls him a dirtbag, saying he's scumming. Like, how does it feel to know that your wife makes more money than you and that she married beneath her and all that type of shit? And Dominique is there, and that was basically her way of trying to get him to be with her. It's like, see, we don't live like them. We from the dirt. We had to make our way up to where we was. And look at her. She don't even see that you struggling because he had got a headache. And so Janelle comes over and like, girl, back up off my man. He's perfectly fine. And then turns to him like, why didn't you say anything? And for some reason, even though Dominique knew that the relationship was basically over, she still would not let it go. And it's just like, it's so obvious that he don't want you because he was avoiding her. Anytime she would try to hang out, he would make up an excuse. It's just like, girl, he was never feeling you like that. And she, at some point, because it's like we get a little point of view from her, she admits, like, I know that this relationship is coming to an end. It's just hard to admit. And if you can remember, that is her. I was going to say, I don't even know why I'm saying, because at what was his name? Which T was he? Sin and Trip at their wedding. Yeah, that is that Dominique, because it's Daniel again. Daniel Cruz, which is Janelle's brother. They had a little situation going on, and they was flirting in this book. Yeah, like I said, the way she sounds in this book, I no longer like Dominique because I was with her, trying to get Briere and what was his name? Tyrese, trying to get her and Ty together. I was with her. She sounded fun in the earlier books, but she just way desperate and mean and rude as hell in this book. I was like, there's no way I could root for her. Um, but also, I forgot before we get to this point. Um, Janelle wanted to open up a center for battered women, for, I hate to call them victims, but uh, domestic violence victims. And so she's going to the council to have the conversation. And basically, it was like on the day where she knew it was getting passed through because she had been working on it for so long, and it was it. Who's the one person that has some pushback against it? Dominique. And although we never fully got the full story, because I feel like coming up, we probably gonna get a Daniel and Dominique story, but I'm gonna go into it real hesitant. I'm putting that out in the universe right now. So, Elle, if you ever hear this, just know I might not be able to support that one, but I have a feeling that Dominique's mother was a domestic violence victim, and they went into a center like that, and inside the center is where Dominique was assaulted, because she makes it known like, okay, you set this up, but who's to say that the abuser doesn't show up with a gun, doesn't try to get his family back, doesn't pull his family out of there, and who's to say that the people that work there are actually good people? And her and Janelle, like, they have this fight, and Janelle is like, I can tell that you're being vindictive and trying to fight me only because of Lucas, and I'm going to let it be known. And she gets up, because I believe they were having lunch together that time, and she says, if you do, then I will tell a story about a little girl who knows about the ins and outs of a center like that. So it's just like, okay, that may be your life story, and so sorry that that happened to you, but a center like this could help people. And Dominique had also said, okay, you're going to bring that into she sounded real coonish. I'm sorry. Like the black people who move to the white people neighborhoods and wants to assimilate to them, and basically like you're gonna move a center like that into our nice neighborhood and bring those thugs here. But then she also makes a statement of, how rich people are gonna, it's like, who's to say that a rich abuser isn't gonna pay money to like destroy this, like basically all around. It's like, but it's not rooted in real concern for me. That's the way it comes across. It's like, Dominique, you don't really care. You just using this to stick it to Janelle. And she tries to say it's not all about that, but it's like it is though. Cause like Janelle said, it's like I've been working on this for a while. This ain't the first time that it's been brought up. But as soon as you found out that I was still married to this man, here you come. And that's the only reason why you fighting it. Because otherwise you would have said something before and you didn't say anything. So I was like, yeah, Dominique is full of shit. Um, but so yeah, so we're towards the end. And what was that? So after they leave, because Janelle takes him home, she's like, if you're not feeling it, you got a headache. First of all, why didn't you say anything to me about it? And, basically tell her to mind her business. But this is when Dominique wants to tell Lucas, I love you. And he's like, I thought we left this relationship with no feelings because it really wasn't a relationship. They wasn't having sex. She said she wanted to save herself, I guess, basically until they got married. So it wasn't that. And even then, even if they were having sex, that's not it. There was no chemistry between them. There was no feelings. It what am I trying to say? It would have been a marriage of convenience. He just wanted to get married and wanted to have a baby, but there was no love involved. So he was looking at her crazy like, I I'm confused. And he was like, I didn't mean to lead you on this far, but I love my wife and I'm going to make it work with my wife. So when they get in the car, once again, it is the argument of these are your friends. All you care about is money. And Janelle is hurt. And she's just like, I don't understand why you are so set in your ways of having this idea about me when I have been begging and pleading my case of that's not who I am. Yes, I grew up in wealth and I know money and it's a part of my life, but that's not the person that I am. And I felt like through the years you would have been able to see that about me. And so they get into this argument and he pulls out his checkbook and says, yes, how much do I owe you for your services? Basically calling his own wife a hoe. So she tells the driver, take him home and I'm going home too. And he can feel that it's the end. And even with him feeling that way, he doesn't say anything. He just gets out the car, talking about he'll make it up to her tomorrow. Like, what? Do you not hear the conversation that y'all having? Like, y'all two will not talk to each other. And it's so, ooh, it was so frustrating, but I got through it. And so we get to, it's been 3 months and Janelle ain't doing nothing but going to work and going home and getting into bed claiming that she's sick. Like, oh yeah, you sick, all right. You sick with another baby. And so when she goes to tell him that she's pregnant, he accuses her of sleeping with somebody else. Like, basically, so why are you telling me this information about you being pregnant? So that's another thing. It's just like, what the fuck? But she drops an envelope on his desk and basically it's like this date with this date with this date. So for him, that comes to the realization that this is his baby. So, of course, now he wants her back, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to say that to you. And but she's like, no, it's obvious that this relationship is not meant to be because we keep doing this shit of making up to break up and arguing about money. I don't want to do this no more. I'm getting off of this ride with you. So but he works hard like through the pregnancy. Lord, I don't know why I was getting tongue tied because I wanted to say the marriage, but I'm like, that's not what we're talking about right now. So after she had the baby girl, um and he realizes that he wants his family, but she's not with it. She's like, no, I cannot do it. Until, what is it, like one night she's laying across the bed and it's just like, I want my man. So she bundles up the baby and goes to his house after she had just kicked him. Well, I ain't gonna say just kicked him out, but he had came over afterward. She fixed him something to eat. He stayed with the baby for a little bit. She's like, please go home and go to bed. So her showing up at his house at midnight with the baby, he like, what's going on? What's the problem? Now Egypt had drove her over there. She's like, I got the baby. Me and the baby gonna be upstairs. Um and they finally talk, and she's like, I realized with you it wasn't about me, it was about yourself. You have this situation where you put me up on a pedestal and you're still trying to climb your way up to me, but feeling as if you're never going to make it by my side, or that you'll never be as good as me. And that's not my problem. I was like, and she tells him, I love you. I want you. Like, I want to make this work. And so it's like, finally, they get together and they're going to make it work. Now, just a quick side note, Lucas has a best friend by the name of Miles. Miles likes Zaire. So they get together and their little, which fucked me up, by the way. Zaire, there had been feelings there, but she has a hard time with saying I love you and being in love. And because at one point when he told her that he loved her, she couldn't return the sentiment, and basically told him, let's take a step back. So he cut off access to himself from her. Like, you know what, you take all the time you need. I'm good. So when they make their way back to each other, she tells him, she had a friend of hers who told her that he loved her, and when she returned the sentiment, he died in, like, not right then and there, but she died in he died in her arms, excuse me, from an aneurysm. So the day that Lucas, like, their mother had her accident before Zaire had told her she loved her, and then she went and had an accident. The day that their daddy left, she had made him lunch and sent him on his way with the I love. So it's like every person that she has said I love you to, something bad has happened. It's not funny, but it was to me. Because when he was having a revelation, because he was telling it to Lucas, he was like, shit, she got me scared for my own life. Because he had like almost a near death experience on the highway. Sorry, but Lucas claimed, like, you be zooming down that fucking highway anyway, so that's not a surprise. But when that man said she got me scared for my own life, I cried. But anyway, Kenya, she had a boyfriend, and like I said, they were celebrating her graduating college, and her boyfriend proposed to her, but she said, she wasn't ready yet, so he broke up with her. And so they were all having their little relationship problems, but Zaire and Miles got it together. But Kenya, she was feeling a little sad because her boyfriend, he was going to Atlanta for a job offer, and then come to find out, like, real soon, he's getting married real quick. So it's like, it's not like you just wanted to be married. It didn't matter to who, which is, ugh. But is that it? Yeah, so they have their baby girl, and they name her, what was it, Zambia? Yeah, because Lucas's mother had a tradition of naming the girls after places in Africa. So that's how we got Zaire, Kenya, and Egypt. And so, yep, they named her Zambia, and everything was all good in their world. Now they can have their happily ever after and be together and be happy. So that is it, my lovely people. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you back next episode. I don't know what I'm gonna review. I need to look for another book. because I'm still working on Miss Asia's Monique's uh, Mafia Misfits, but the next book that I want to review is not out yet, so we're waiting on that. Peace.